Did that work? It sure don't look like it. Hey, there we go. Fantastic. All right. We're all set up. And hopefully we'll get a few people in. And if we don't... oh, man. I'll just do something, I guess. I'll just make a character. Okay. We'll wait a little bit longer. Hopefully we can get a few more to join us. And we can start throwing out some fun character ideas. And I can show you how the system can take just about any concept. I mean, not every concept. I'm sure somebody's got some crazy stuff out there. Hey there, Aaron. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This one's a little different, but I thought I'd have some fun, and I'm very excited about my game and wanted to share it with everybody. And I thought one of the fun ways to do that is character creation, and I wanted to take everybody through it. Any chance you have a character concept, Aaron? Melee, magic, uh, a mental, charismatic character, maybe? We'll give everyone just a little bit more time. Hi there, Johnny. Thank you so much. I was just chatting with Aaron here. I'm hoping you've got some fun character concepts, and we can all kind of collaborate on making a character in my game system. Just a little bit of a way for me to show it off for everybody. Um, give it just a little bit longer. How's everybody doing today? I hope everyone had a great day. I did. It was very productive. It was very cold here today, but not as cold as it's been. And I was able to get my back brakes changed. Still very cold sitting on that concrete, but I was able to get it done, and it was important because they were starting to grind just a little bit. You know, where you wince every time you got to hit the brake pedal. All right, let's just get started. Let's get started. All right. So I've got my windows open, displaying a digital of the book file, and I've got a display of the character sheet, and then of course a rare visual sighting of myself, and I've got my chat window here so that when people are watching the video in the future, they'll understand who in the world I'm talking to and what's going on. All right, I asked for some concepts. I see barbarian / wizard from Aaron. Is that something you want the character to be a little bit of both, or are you thinking either or it would be good for you? Let me know. Let's just skip through to character creation. Here, and these two pages break down the character sheet. You can see I have the front of the sheet displayed right now, and there's the back of the sheet. I like games where all your character information can be on a single piece of paper. So with front and back, you can do that with this game. Everything you need to know about your character can, in fact, fit on one sheet of paper. Let's go back to the front of the character sheet. And here we have our character creation. And our first step is, in fact, our general concept. And that way, when we start looking through the rest of the book for options, we can pick the best options to fit with our concept. All right, I see we've got a barbarian slash wizard. So let's do something like that. Then let's combine the two. We're going to have a beefy fighter, and this fighting character is going to have some some magical abilities to them, and I've got some things. Well, I always thought a shaman was a little bit of a druid kind of thing, but maybe more elemental, more spirit based. Where a wizard's more of an arcane. But I do get your point, particularly if you go like World of Warcraft. I was a big player of World of Warcraft for a time, and there was an enhancement shaman, and they were all about dual wielding and really quick attacks with elemental energies in their moves and weapons. So that might work too. Um, we'll go through, and you guys can tell me when you see certain powers and things. Let's see here. Concept together with the strain. All right. So we've got we want a fighter caster or a fighter with some magical abilities. Step 2 is our personal info. And these are things like what kind of race, your personality, and your motivation. So let's start simple enough. Can cast spells and armor. So this game is very, very open and free. Um, what kinds of weapons and armor you can use is dictated by your physical characteristics and has nothing to do with whether or not you can cast spells. It's a completely different thing. So you could, in fact, do a full plate wizard, but for certain reasons, you'll be a little weaker than a full fighter, and you'll be a little weaker than a full caster. There's a balance, and we'll go through that as we start to allocate points to our character creation. So our first option is a race. And in this game, race is merely cosmetic. You get no extra bonuses, no minuses. Everybody is on an evil or an even, not an evil, an even playing field. So a dwarf, an elf, a human, an orc, uh, whatever you can think of, for this game, everybody starts at 0, the same point, and then those cosmetic changes to the game are brought by you and your dungeon master storyteller. So if you enter a village that maybe doesn't like dwarves and you happen to be playing a dwarf character, then the issues about being a dwarf will come into play while you role play, and not so much statistics. I thought about trying to work races into the game, but the balancing was a nightmare. I threw it all out, and I like the fact that everybody kind of starts even anyway. So, with that being said, knowing that it's just cosmetic, does anybody have a particular um, race they would prefer for our barbarian slash wizard character? I'm a plain Jane, so if no one speaks up, I'm going human. Anybody? Mm, all right, human it is. And we're going to work next time with our personality archetype. And you can see I've added, or I've got a selection of archetypes in the book. This game does not have alignment. There is no alignment. Um, I'm a big proponent in the shades of gray. Very rarely does the world come down to a black and a white, a good and evil. Usually there is a ooh, orc. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on there. There we go. Orc. Excellent. And then back to alignment. I don't like it. Um, I much prefer the idea of a character's personality, and as long as you maintain a kind of a role play with your character's personality, then I think that counts, and I think that's a good way to proceed. So I have some personality archetypes in the game that offer up a quick idea of what I'm trying to communicate with the character creation. The major archetypes are dutiful, and a dutiful character would be serious, responsible, dependable, and quiet. You could be a mechanic type personality, reserved, curious, analytical, and detached. You could be a nurturer. That would be a kind, empathetic, dependable, and loyal character. You could be an artist personality, sensitive, open minded, creative, and empathic. You could have a protector type personality, forceful, intuitive, respectful, and moral. You could be an idealist. An idealist tends to be loyal, open minded, moral, and forceful. You could be a thinker. Thinkers are creative, knowledgeable, logical, and leadership. You could be a dynamo, action oriented, loyal, impatient, a risk taker. You could be a performer. They're fun. They prefer the center of attention. They're energetic and social. And you could be an executive type personality, assertive, driven, organized, and competent. So, our orc, barbarian type wizard character, what kind of personality should he or she have? Anyone have a thought? I think at the moment, a a big brute with a little bit of magical force behind he or she. I kind of like protector, so I think protector might do. And if I don't hear from anybody, I will put protector in here. Anyone? What's up? Do you need something?
Some homies are going to Tarjay. Can I?
Yes, you can go with your friends.
Yeah.
Did you get your room clean?
I got some of it clean, but I don't work tomorrow, so I'm gonna clean up the rest of it. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me.
All right.
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
All right. Go have fun. All right.
In my defense, I was gonna clean, but then I had a rough day and like.
All right. All right. Go have fun.
Digging.
Okay. All right. Nurturer, artist. I like artist. Sensitive, open minded, creative, empathic. Let's do it. Artist. Excellent. I'm going to move that over just a touch. There we go. Next, we have our motivation. And this is what motivates our character. This helps. Sorry about that interruption. The daughter wanted to go play with her friends. Play. She's going to hang out. She's much too old to play. She's going to hang out. All right. We've got some sample motivations, and these are like, what brings your character out? Why is your character out and about, treasure hunting or delving into dungeons? What in the world is motivating their actions and things of that nature? I have just a few samples. You know, they're seeking fame. They want to be famous, or maybe they have a personal or family honor that they're trying to uphold or correct. Perhaps they have food. I have I've made a dwarf character that was he and his family owned a brewery, and he was out to taste test, and then if he found beers he felt were better than his family's beer, that he was to bring home samples so that they can then improve their beer and continue to be the best. And so for him, food was very well, beer was the motivation. Um, some of the others, a higher calling. Perhaps one of the gods has spoken to your character, or maybe they just believe that the gods have spoken to them, and they believe they have a higher calling, or maybe they're, classic druid. They want to save the forest and the little critters. That might be a higher calling for them. Just looking for adventure. I would call that thrill seeker, and I think that works pretty well with artist, actually. It was a very fun character, and I hope to dust him off and play him again someday. Um, I like Thrill Seeker. Does anybody else? Let's do Thrill Seeker. No, 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 no. That'll work. Come on now. Thrill Seeker. And move that up. Good. All right. And a name. Let's give a name to our artistic, thrill-seeking orc character with a hint of barbarian and wizard in them. Does anybody have a name for our orc? And I guess at this point, we'll pick whether the orc is male or female by giving he or she the name. Anyone have a good orc name? Because I don't believe I understand. Show nurture over nature. It's decision making. I hope it's a big part of the decision making. Um, Again, I don't like the alignment, lawful good and lawful evil, and I guess if you break those things down, they make sense in a certain way. But I'd rather create or give your character the personality, and then give them a motivation. And I think that really that's a better way to create an alignment-esque system. Gallic. I like it. Oop, nope, nope. There we go. Good. Gallic. Excellent. And now we get to move on to some of the really fun stuff, and we start to get into the mechanics of the game. So, step number 3, our broken strain. Now, just a quick breakdown on the story of the game. There were two goddesses, two primal forces in the world, nothing and something. And something dies, and when she dies, she fragments into pieces, into shards, and each one of these characters, they're called the Broken. Each one of the Broken have one of her shards inside them, and there are 6 types of shards called Broken Strain. And so the 6 are the Archmage, and these tend to be masters of magic and arcane energies. You have the Divine, holy warriors and avengers. You have the Infernal, passionate and chaotic warriors. You have the Juggernaut, physical brutes with great stamina. Mystic, beings in harmony with nature. And the Slayer, masters of weapons and combat. Those are on 39. Let's go take a better look at them. Oop, I'm passing them up. There we go. This is the first one here, the Archmage. And each strain gets, they get 5 overpower abilities, and I'll explain those a little bit more um, a little bit more detail later. But each strain gets 4 unique powers of or unto themselves. So all strains have the energize, and then the Archmage here has empower, and they can spend. There's 2 types of energy. They can spend some big energy to double the aspect of any one of their spells. Double damage, double range, double duration, one aspect of any spell. The Archmage can also spell mimic any one spell they've seen done within a 24-hour span. So if you see the big bad guy whip off something really cool, well, you can do it too with spell mimic. They also have the fade ability, basically a blink from one location to the other, and they can scry, almost an out-of-body experience where they can project themselves up and around and scry the general location. I'm not sure that Archmage works for our orc. Our orc is a we've got that barbarian aspect. The Archmage is more of a classic mage. I think there's some better strains. Here we have a divine. Divine, their 4 unique powers, the sanctified ground. So around the divine, they cease all other broken's abilities to use their energy and their powers. Very cool for like a PvP or taking down the real big bad. If you can get them trapped in your sanctified ground, you've got them. They also have a holy radiance. It's like a holy torchlight, but it also repels undead, causes them to flee, and if they're trapped within the illumination, they take some damage. The the divine also have shatter bindings. So anything that tries to trap or imprison a divine, they can smash and break away. The Slayer is probably a very good choice for our character, but I do want to go through all the options because there are a couple others that might be really fun. The last ability of the Divine is the Inquisition, where they can basically force the truth out of people as they need it. The Infernal, which is a very chaotic, passionate, emotional. They have the power Rage, when they can expel a large amount of energy and with touch cause a target to um, explode in an uncontrollable rage at a particular target. They can also do the same thing but with a lust type effect, so that that target they choose to enchant with this ability is drawn to a target of the caster's choosing, and they're extremely lustful for that character. They can also um, get into a blood type contract by shaking hands. They can lock. That's all right. They can lock another um, character into a deal, and if that character tries to break the deal, they will actually suffer massive pain and could possibly die unless they continue to honor that contract made. And then Dark Puppet, which is a very dark resurrection spell with some strings attached. The person you bring back to life is forced to obey you and your commands for a certain amount of time until the magic wears off. So they're kind of uh, stuck being your slave for a time. We have the Juggernaut, and the Juggernaut I think would be a good choice. A little more barbarian, a little less wizard, but that's okay if that's the way we want to go for. The Juggernaut has regeneration. They can basically bring themselves back up to full health by using their big energy. They can also become an unstoppable force and uh, basically spring forward 10 feet through anything, causing massive damage, pushing things back, ripping through dungeon walls, whatever the Juggernaut feels is right to use unstoppable force. They can also be the unmovable object. With this power, the Juggernaut will lock their feet into place and cannot be moved from that spot. Uh, and I even put in the book here what happens when one of them, being an unstoppable force, meets another Juggernaut and an unmovable object. Well, that should be something fun for the uh, dungeon master or storyteller to decide. And then finally, the Juggernaut can be invulnerable for a time, basically immune to all damage while they, try to wreck face. Juggernaut's a fun choice. That might be the way our orcs should go. We have the Mystic, and they have some very interesting abilities. The first is the spirit animal form. They can basically turn into an animal, transform into an animal, but like a ghost version of that animal. Physical barriers don't stop them. They can uh, fly or drift around through walls and things. However, they can be hurt by magical damage and magical means, and so they still need to be a little bit careful. They can also do the Eye of the Spirit. This is where they can open their mind to the unseen, illusions, spirits. All of these things become visible to the mystic. The mystic can also perform spirit link. This is where they can touch another character or a creature and merge their minds with that character. Both of these people, the mystic and their target, share minds, their pasts, and in this state, the mystic can ask questions of the person they've linked with and can deduce the clear and complete truth of the situation. Once done, the mystic remains linked forever with whoever they have spirit linked. So it may, and neither one will ever lay hands upon the other once once the spirit link is over. So it's a very interesting way to combat uh, enemies, basically by forcefully making them your friends. Um, Very interesting, and we've had several fun uses of it in game already. And finally, the mystic has quest for the spirit, and with an immense amount of power, they can locate any person, place, or object on the planet and kind of get a sense of where that object or thing is and head right to it. Awesome! I'm glad you could make it. Thank you so much. We're a little far in, so maybe once it's all finished, you go back in and review. I'm hoping the video won't be too long so that people see it and want to watch it. But we'll see how quickly we can get through it. And now we come to the Slayer, and the Slayer can use their power to bond with any one weapon. And once they're bonded, uh, uh, a touch of their soul and energy into this weapon, it creates a link to this weapon, and this weapon gains several abilities that the Slayer can then activate when they wish. What are these abilities? They can make their weapon magical at will, and it'll cause magic damage and glow with a bright light. No problem. Glad to have you, Shadow and Sun. Thank you so much. Yes, I thought I put myself on camera. I was hoping maybe people would see that I came out of hiding, and that would increase my my views, my clicks. We'll see. What can a bonded weapon do? They can make it become magical at will, and thus cause magical damage. They can also sense their weapon's location if they're ever parted from it. If their bonded weapon is ever in the hands of their enemy, the Slayer can cause the handle to heat and burn the hand with magic until that weapon is dropped. And finally, uh, the Slayer can pull their bonded weapon into their hand from up to 30 feet away, and the weapon will travel quickly, damaging everything in its path. This game is an alternative to Dungeons and Dragons. Perhaps you like anime and video games. This game is very much inspired by those things. So I feel it's like an over the top version of like a Dungeons and Dragons. Big flashy combat, uh, big massive damage spells, death around every corner. In fact, the game has an active combat system where sometimes it is a better choice to use your action to dodge than it is to uh, attack, because a critical strike will put you on the ground. So you need to be very careful. But that's a little beyond this for now. Right now, we're just going over character creation and some of the fun options. Um, After weapon bonding, the Slayer has the pushing boundaries ability, and uh, this this ability doubles all their physical characteristics for a time. That being dexterity, their strength, and their stamina. This helps immensely in battle, and it's a bit more of a stat boost for combat. But I mean, double your strength and double your dexterity. Some of these things make sense, I hope, for why they would be a good. Yes, a Slayer and a sentient weapon would be a great odd couple, I think. A lot of people have only played D&D, and that's great. D&D's fantastic. Fifth edition has been wonderful. It's got a lot of new players into the game. Um, I think role playing has never been more mainstream, more accepted, and I think it's awesome. But that being said, I think D&D has its flaws, and there's room for improvement. And I think I've made some improvements, and so I put together this game, and I'm hoping to get it out there and see what people think. It's right now it's a living document, so as we find issues with balancing and things, I'm able to make changes, push the new version out, and I'm hoping to continue to do that until I get it to a point where it's publishable. And then I'd love to do like an Indiegogo or something, and get like an actual hardcover, which would be fantastic. Until then, though, I've got this very playable, very close PDF version. Their next power is powering up. And again, this is another combat rules power. So it might not make sense as I describe it, but as I do more of these videos and explain the game a little bit more, hopefully it'll understand. When a Slayer uses powering up, it allows them to use as many quick actions in one turn as they want. So that means a lot of the augmentation powers, they can turn a bunch of them on real fast at one time and obliterate their opponent really quick. It's a very useful power. And then finally, their last one, Weapon Oversoul. The picture of the Slayer here, he's kind of demonstrating it, basically pouring. um, so you can't buy a copy yet. Well, technically, I have a subscribe star page, and on that page, for $10 a month, you gain access to the book. I have it in page version for print. I have it in spread version for screen, which you're looking at here. And then I have the character sheet up as well. And additionally, I've got some templates and things up. I'm going to share with everyone on the subscribe star behind the scenes things. And so basically, $10 at my subscribe star. You'll be in for 1 month. Download it, and if you want, I get it. cancel. You've paid $10. You've got your copy. You're good to go. However, if I, continue to bring worth, if you are entertained by the videos, if you like the game and want to see it continue to improve and help me do that, then $10 a month continuing would be wonderful. But I understand times are tough, so I get it. Um, I have played, so I cut my teeth on Vampire the Masquerade, pun intended. That was the first, that was the first game that I uh, played legitly. No one could quite explain role playing to me, and so we never had anyone to run. And then a friend's girlfriend, she she offered to run us through Vampire, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I did have issues. Uh, it's been a long time, so I'm not picking on her. I won't even say names, but she ran the combat turns wrong. So all her characters, all her NPCs had a lot of actions, but instead of doing round robin like it was in the rules, her NPCs would go first. They'd go 6 or 7 times, and then combat's over. And we would watch. Basically, the game was we would watch her NPCs be awesome. And even though I still enjoyed role playing and I enjoyed the ideas, uh, her storytelling didn't quite work for us. And us forever DMs, if you once you get the idea, you're kind of like, well, wait a minute, no, I can do it better. And that's kind of what happened. I went, well, I think I can do this better. And I went and I bought the the core rule book and then the storyteller's guide, and boom, the rest is history. So Vampire the Masquerade started on Werewolf the Apocalypse, which was another World of Darkness game. Um, a lot of so this game has a lot of OP abilities. There are paper rock scissors checks to a lot of these abilities. Which power up does the power up have a wait time? Powering up. No. Um, it costs a lot of energy though. So I'm going to take you to the sheet to explain it. If you see, let's go to the back. Yeah, yes, you can. You can certainly. So at the back of the character sheet, you have your energy gauge. And right now, we've been talking about overpower abilities. These are your really big, very dramatic, change the face of the battle, change the face of the story type powers. And they take overpower energy. You can have at max only 4. And what ultimately ends up happening is that all of them have energize. And with energize, you can take one of your overpower and refill your energy gauge. And your energy gauge powers the vast majority of the powers you'll be using. So what usually happens is you'll burn through your energy, and then you'll use one of these overpower to energize again and fill back up. Usually, not always. And these big powers here, pushing boundaries, powering up, weapon oversoul, these are used when it's time. If that makes any sense, when it's time, when the big boss is showing up, or when that guy's about to get away, or when a dragon just flies out of the sky and it's about to hit the fan, that's when you use these really big, very powerful abilities. Um, it can be overpowering, and it's meant to be. In this game, the broken characters are meant to be incredibly powerful. They are the movers and the shakers of this world, and um, I like that. I know some games are built around um, the struggle, And this game also has a struggle. You'll be surprised. But against normal people, uh, you're very powerful. You're very, very powerful. I believe the Slayer is the last. Yep, the Slayer is our last one. I'm sorry that took a little bit, but now we're ready to pick a strain for our character. So of those, let's go back to the character page where they recap. Oop, there we go. So of the 6, Archmage, Divine, Infernal, Juggernaut, the Mystic, or the Slayer, which one would we like to go with? I know Slayer right now is out there for our barbarian slash wizard orc. Slayer's good. Anyone else? Going once, twice, sold. Where am I here? There we go. Slayer. Excellent. Now, if you've noticed, those six types are very generic, right? There's clearly a caster. The divines kind of like for the holy, the paladins, the priests. The infernals are darker class. Our juggernauts are our big. Um, so my son and his friends have been playing this for a while, testing it out for me, and all right, okay, we're gonna have to do a little vote. I think we've got Mystic, Juggernaut, and Slayer, so we're gonna have to have a vote. Um, so everybody type your vote in now, and while you vote, um, back to the adequate challenges, my son likes to challenge his groups with like a mirror match. So he'll take um, their characters and he'll design a character that will counteract their powers. So it's like a super team fighting another super team. And he has a blast and has mentioned several times that those characters end up getting their butts kicked. There's 2 for Slayer, 1 for Juggernaut, no, all right, Johnny, you can't vote twice. 2 Slayer, 1 Mystic, 1 Juggernaut, Mystic. Rogues, same thing. If you wanted to be a rogue, I would say Infernal would work for you, Juggernaut would work for you, and Slayer would work for you. And then rogues, you would pick from the power sets to get your roguiness. And we'll go over that in just a bit. We've got 2 Slayer. I think Slayer's going to win. We'll close vote in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're going to stick with Slayer and move on to our power sets. And this is where character creation gets absolutely crazy fun. This is where you get to tailor make your character into exactly what you want them to be. As I mentioned before, we've got the 2 sets of energy, overpower and then just standard energy. The abilities we talked about with the strains were overpower. The energy, that's what is going to cast these abilities here in your power sets. Each power set has 5 powers starting, and you learn them going through level 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the end of 5. And there are many, many power sets. The first is animal control. Basically, it is what it says. The first power being talking with them, and then as you go through, you can control them, summon them, spiritually link to them, and at that last power, you can summon an army of them. Arcane magic. And this is your good standard wizard power set. It's got a little bit of everything. Sense magic allows you to view magic um, through your eyes like a sixth sense, watching it move in currents around the floor, see items glowing with magic. You can view other broken as they'll glow with magic. Of course, the classic arcane missile, arcane shield. You can dispel magics. I've actually started with my Sindora character. I've been using this as a nice combat spell. So when an enemy's big spell is cast at me, I'll try to dispel it rather than let it hit me or attempt to dodge. And then an arcane ward. Uh, friends are important. Friends are important. Arcane Ward allows you to create a magical barrier around a doorway or on an object where you can ward that thing against a how do I want to put it? Well, let's say I'm a female wizard and I don't want any of the male wizards of the tower entering my private my private domain. So when I go to bed, I cast Arcane Ward and I ward my door against men. And now no man can walk through that door. It is guarded by magic. So the more creative you can get with it and what you ward against, the more effective the spell can be. Uh, Sindora, again, she's a big user of this whole power set. She warded her tent against demons while they were out riding the countryside to protect herself. So that was an example of how she could use that power. Blazing speed, and it is what it says. The farther down you go, the quicker your character can get. This, yes, so a lot of the abilities and spells and things that Tinley and Zella are using, that the captain and the chief are using, come from this game. And this allows me to build their narrative within the structure of the game so that well, it feels a little better when there's some rules to what the characters are doing. That makes sense. So yes, Tinley and the Shamrock Boys are following the game system. So blazing speed, as simple as gaining more actions in combat, but it can also be used to uh, automatically dodge any attack coming at you, or to even quickly travel vast distances in very little time. My recaps are going to get a little tighter because I don't want to keep everyone for too long. We mentioned rogue, and this is the rogue's bread and butter here, cloaking. First power, melding into the shadows. If they use it in conjunction with the second power, they can move about in the shadows. By the third power, they don't even need the shadows and can simply move about invisibly. Fourth power, they can create a spot of invisibility. And the fifth power, they can actually extend their invisibility out to others. Dominating strength is just that, absolute super strength, godlike strength ability. It adds massive damage to attacks and also allows you to lift and bend and break at supernatural values. Earth magic, the ability to uh, control magic, move through it like it was water, change its consistency, rock to mud, vice versa. Earth shaping, creating rough stairs, walls, statues, and even fortresses with this ability. Earthen Sentinel summons and creates an earthen golem, or you can just cast Earthquake and absolutely wreck a place. We have Earthen Warrior, which is like well, uh, Avatar was really big while I was creating creating the game, and it was an influence on uh, a lot of the things, a lot of the abilities. So Earthen Warrior is essentially a martial arts with with an earth elemental twist to it. Stone Skin being the first power. Earth Cling, so you can basically move around like Spider-Man. Stone Fist, so encasing your hands in stone, causing more damage to physical attacks. The Flying Stone Block, basically kicking up and then launching large stone bricks at your opponents. And then Grasping Earthen Hands. The picture here is kind of describing what it does. Thrust your hands into the earth and lock down an opponent. Feral Mastery. If you want a werewolf-esque character, werecat, any kind of lycanthrope-esque character, this is where you'll want to take a look. First level, heightened sense. Heightened senses. The second, tooth and claw, where you'll spring claws, have teeth, and can actually attack for big damage with those. The feral mind has a unique twist on the rules, where you can't be mind controlled or taken over. Feral instinct. Feral instinct is the one that twists the rules and improves your success rate. And then you have your werebeast. This is your lycanthrope form, granting you double physical stats. Automatically, tooth and claw and heightened senses are turned on. You gain a second action and become an absolute physical beast. I had a friend turn into a werebear, ended up tearing a bandit in half. It was very brutal and very awesome. Fire form. This is the elemental martial art with fire as its element. Fire jabs are small little fireballs with martial arts punches and kicks. The explosive fist is it a AoE? Is it a single fire? Single attack with knockback. This game has a knockback mechanic. Huge fan of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. They're always hitting each other and flying a mile through mountains and across stone, and I wanted to mimic that in this game. So this game has a knockback mechanic and a chart, several charts, a chart on percent chance of being knocked through that material, and then a chart describing the extra damage being taken by getting kicked or punched through stone or wood or what have you. Fire propulsion is almost like having a jetpack where they can zip around with fire. Fire bomb is the AoE, and the dragon's fist is a very powerful single attack. Fire magic. This is where a caster would control the element of fire with their energies. Classic fireball. To some more fun things like the eyes of flame, being able to spy on people through fire and flame. The firebrand is really cool, putting a little mark on the ground and allowing it to explode when things get too close, or whenever you choose, to a massive AoE fire damage spell, Firestorm. Fungalmancy. Turn yourself into a fungus, and then pick the toadstools off of you and hand them out to your friends and family so they can heal. You can also produce spore clouds from any source that would spew them. That would be yourself in fungal form or in mushroom fields. And then as you go through, you can actually create mushroom fields and then lay spore clouds as you go. Or maybe you just want a minion and you can summon yourself a mushman. And one of my favorites, the fungal zombie. Go ahead and plant a little mushroom on someone and that mushroom will go into their brain and turn them into one of your minions. Healing magic. Healing's always been fairly boring in a lot of games, and I wanted to spice it up because I like healing. I think it's vital. I think healers are overlooked, and I tried to make it a little fun. So healing with the touch is fairly simplistic and simple, but you can also cure poisons and disease. And once you get further into it, you can actually heal with a healing rain in a big AoE, or you can actually create little sprites that can light up and help illuminate the way, and also upon touch can heal a target. And then, assuming that body hasn't been rotting for too long, return life. Got to bring those PCs back to life. Ice magic. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try and go a little quicker. Ice magic, slinging ice, creating walls and constructs. You can actually make soldiers of ice, and the master of ice magic can cast the dreaded Hellfrost spell. Illusion magic, small and large illusions. You can create large swaths of illusionary terrain, project yourself as an illusion, and then absolutely wreck people with the haunting nightmare, where replace their reality with your illusionary reality. Generally speaking, uh, terror and fear. Metal body, and I think this might be a good one for our orc character. This allows you to toughen up your skin, and so whether your armor is in tatters or you're simply not wearing any, you have a strong skin and ability to take damage better. Necromancy. With the necrotic stare, look into the eyes of a skull or corpse, check out what happened to them in their last day of life, animate that corpse, explode that corpse for big AoE damage. You have a necrotic blast that rots and damages and weakens and warps. And then you can cast Army of the Dead. We had a fun arena type session, and one of the players took Army of the Dead. And the way it works is the amount they roll, they summon each round until they're stopped. And it took the other players a few rounds before they realized that. And then they all rushed over to stop him. It was a lot of fun. Orator. This is where you weaponize your voice from vocal mimicry, uh, being able to imitate any sound, to disembodied voice, being able to throw your voice great distances to cause confusion. Mesmerizing cadenza allows you to charm or command someone with a sentence. You've got an attack in painful crescendo, and then standing ovation is like a massive charm spell. Anyone listening to your song will be enamored with you. Plant magic. Animate plants, rapidly grow those plants. Protective Pod is a fun shield spell that you can cast upon yourself or allies. You have a regeneration spell, and when the regeneration spell is cast, that particular limb will get a nice bark armor bonus. Or you have a plant minion spell where you can summon very strong plants or many smaller, peskier plants to do your bidding. Let's see here. Yes, metal body would very much help a thrill-seeking barbarian orc. Power leech is a lot of fun. You can, with touch, all by touch, you can either leech their health, higher up their energy, farther up their vitality or their actual stats. You can also leech part of their overpower, and then finally, at the fullest leeching power, you can actually steal If you happen to be fighting other broken, of course, you can actually steal their power sets for a small time and use them as your own. Protective Force. Uh, this is a kind of a paladin-esque type power set where you can taunt, forcing either multiple opponents or one opponent to focus on you for a time. Energy Shield allows you to create a shield out of thin air with nothing but your energy. Guardian Rush allows you to rush great distances to guard or protect against attacks for your allies. Second Wind is a way to restore your own health and repair your own armor with a burst of energy. And then Last Stand is uh, when the Broken throws up both hands and creates a 15 by 15 foot impenetrable shield. And as long as they maintain that stance, that shield stays unbreakable. Psychic Manipulation, Telepathy. The second ability allows you to cast a mind shield. The third, Command, where you can command people by looking into their eyes. Number 4, Memory Manipulation. We had a blast with that. One of the characters came onto the scene, and the other character was ready to act a little not aggressive, but suspicious. And he just poked into the guy's memory and made it so that the other character had memories of his father and his character being best friends. So he was almost an uncle to the other character, and it it worked amazingly. It was awesome. And then Subjugation, where you basically psychically dominate another person into doing what you need. Psychic Force, where you use your mental abilities in a more overt way, whether it be to heal, as a shield against damage, as a blast, uh, like an arcane missile, or to fly telekinetically, or to let off a big AoE or a psi bomb, as it were. Shadow Magic, uh, laying down blankets of shadow that induce terror, or a blanket of shadow that clings and wraps around those stuck inside of it. You can summon dark tendrils of shadow to whip and lash your uh, opponents. You can shadow blink, blinking from one shadow to a nearby shadow, in and out of shadows several times per cast. And finally, you can create a clone of yourself of shadow. There's a shape-shifting power set, manipulating your body one limb at a time. Maybe you want to change your hair color, you want your arm or leg to be longer, something like that. Human Mimic, basically changing your whole body to look like another person. The third power, turning into a small animal, a large animal, and then this fifth level, Clone. You can actually produce a clone of yourself, and this clone is like a second character. However, there becomes a point in time, if you're away from your clone for too long, your clone will believe that the clone is the original, and then you might get into a fight between yourself and the clone. However, if you don't want to do that, just get to your clone in time, and then you can absorb your clone once again by touching it. And once you touch that clone and absorb it back into you, you retain all the memories and everything that clone has experienced. We have Star Magic, Stardust being an AoE heal, Pocket Dimension being a like a summoning bag of holding, if that makes sense. Gravity Well is an AoE damaging spell. It allows you to pulse it over and over again. Wormhole is a way for you to connect an A to B point and then travel between it. And then the last spell of that is Meteor Strike. It is what it is, a massive magical attack. Storm Magic. The first is Whispering Wind, where you can hear everyone's voices, sounds, everything around you for a large distance, and then you can focus in and find the snippets of conversation or noises that you're looking for within a large location. And then it also allows you to cast your whispers into the wind and mentally focus for them to find their target wherever they may be. Buffeting Wind, fancy way of saying force push. A rolling fog, bring in a fog, magical fog that obscures vision, control the weather, and then an awesome damaging spell, Chain Lightning. We have Super Jump, and this might be a fun one for our orc. This simply allows you to jump massive distances. The farther down the power set you go, the farther your jumps, both in height and in distance. You can also, at the second level, the heroic landing at any height without taking damage, and the jump shockwave level 4 actually that force when you take off or that force when you land, and it causes damage and knockback. Telekinesis, moving things with your mind. The higher up you go, the stronger it gets. Temporal magic, time magic. The first being speed alteration, a haste or or slow spell. Then you have time manipulation. This allows you to manipulate an object's place in time, either adding or subtracting years from it. People have used it to uh, can you get her to stop? Thank you. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking. I apologize. Time manipulation allows you to uh, bring an object farther or back and forth through time. I had some characters find a rusty sword in a dungeon, for example, and with time manipulation, they brought it back to brand new and made themselves a pretty penny on it. Time stop actually allows you to stop time and move about as time is stopped. There's temporal loop, which allows you to go backwards in time and up to a little bit and redo those events. So if it all hits the fan and you need or want to redo, temporal loop is the way to go. And finally, future self, the last power, you actually pull a version of yourself from an alternate future, and hopefully that alternate future self can assist you in whatever you're working on currently. Water magic, the control of water, a water spout for attacking and defense, rust, different abilities, or rust metal objects and things. Create watery spheres or prisons, and they can move about the battlefield, trapping your foes. You can turn into a water elemental, and you can actually summon a large amount of water from the elemental plane of water as a flood. Water style is the martial arts style that focuses on using water, from walking on water to using the concepts of ebb and flow in combat, icing the ground and using it in conjunction with water walking to get an edge on your opponent, summoning an icy armor to protect yourself, or bringing that water around your hand and then focusing it as a knife, a bit like the picture there. Now we have our weapon mastery powers, and I recommend we pick one of these for our orc. And I would argue that magic style is probably a good way to go because we want a barbarian slash wizard. With the first ability, you can give your weapon any element for some time, and it'll add some damage modifiers and become magical. You can also cast a blast wave with your weapon of force, and this allows you to cast a range weapon, or it allows you to utilize your sword like a ranged weapon. So by swinging, you send a blast of force out. You can also summon mirror images of yourself to confuse your opponent. Dispelling weapon. So you enchant your weapon, and uh, when it touches magic, it has a chance to dispel that magic. Very powerful. And then phantom weapons, where you actually create several copies, substantial copies of your weapons, and they float around like your minions and attack as you deem fit. Weapon mastery marksman. Oh, 1 second, everyone. Schmoopy? Schmoo! You there? Would you bring me a water? Throat is so dry. I'm having my daughter bring me a water. I've been talking so much. Not not right now. If I could just get the water, and I will see your stuffed animals in just a bit. This might be another fun one if you're doing a rogue and you wanted to do kind of an archery or a crossbow type rogue. You have blazing shot, which is a added damage and magical, like imbuing magic into your next arrow or bolt. You have flare, uh, a lot like I mentioned World of Warcraft back in the towards the beginning of the video. This is a bit like the Hunter's Flare, where you can drop it down and then um, it uncovers any illusion or any invisibility or any hiding. Then you've got blink shot, which is a lot of fun. You basically fire your arrow or bolt, and then where it lands. Oh my god! Thank you so much. My throat is so dry. So much better. Blink shot. So where that bolt or arrow goes, you can then, in a snap, blink your location to that spot. Great way to get up onto tall walls or into the tops of trees just by shooting a shot up and then blinking to where it landed. Blazing Volley, an incredibly powerful AoE damage spell. Yeah, I did need some water magic. Woo! And then finally, Energy Bow, where you can actually create out of thin air a bow of pure magic, where when you pull back, magical arrows are created. Very strong, powerful spell. And in this way, you're never without your bow. Then we have Weapon Mastery Power Style. This would also be a good one for our orc. Power Style is all about, strength and big smashing type effects. So the first one allows you slam, uh, gives you a pop in your initiative so that you can move up in the round a little bit, and it also takes away your target's next action, which is very very nice. Power swing. This adds a massive knockback of 5 to your very next attack, and so this would send, I think, a knockback. Every knockback is 10 feet, I think. memory serves. So that would be sending your opponent flying back 50 feet. Armor smash. This is another stat affecting in the game. I'm going to take you back to the character sheet real quick so you can see. In this game, armor has a durability, and once the durability is all gone, the armor is no longer effective for you. So if you're very well armored, you can sit back and take several shots. But eventually, that damage is going to work its way through your armor, and you're going to want to start dodging, or at the very least get that armor fixed. So with that being said, we look at armor smash, tripling the durability damage on a single strike. The ground fissure, which is striking the ground and like earthquaking a cone in front of you for massive damage, and then atomic shockwave, a like a double. It's like an AOE, so you add a massive AOE to your strike. Very powerful weapon style or weapon mastery. We have the quick style. So this is all about being quick. And we mentioned rogue again. This might be a good one for rogue. It allows you to move quickly, gain extra actions, strike more than once, that kind of thing. Blinking strike allows you to move very far and get a very full strike in. Double strike is 2 attacks in 1 round. Weapon dance allows you to defend as long as you're dancing with those weapons. Your weapon rush allows you to attack all targets from point A to B. So you'll move in one line, and then anything in that line you'll get a strike on. After images, you're moving so quickly that you're creating ghosts of yourself, and those ghosts of yourself you can use to gain dice for actions you do. Shield style. Um, Fun fact, my daughter and I really enjoyed the Shield Hero anime, and I had never thought about it, but yeah, some of the stuff he was doing was really, really cool, and I did not have a shield style in my game at that point. So here it is. I have created one. The concussive block. So when someone smashes against your shield, you gain a knockback and send them backwards. The deflect, reflect, absorb. The better your roll on your defense, you either deflect it, you can reflect that attack back at the attacker, or you can absorb it and recover your energy. The shield throw. So a bit like Captain America. I'm a big Captain America fan. I love the way he wings that shield around. And that's what shield throw is. You can throw your shield from your arm and it will magically return to you. The biting shield. Um, the shield actually gains a great maw. And when weapons and body parts and things come in contact with it, when biting shield's active, it'll attempt to bite, do damage, and then grapple. And then you have the multi-shield. Very, very powerful defensive maneuver. If you spend your first action uh, if you spend your first full action of that combat round on defense, then for the rest of that combat round, you get small magical copies of your shield that pop up automatically as people attempt to attack you. So you're a bit more like a very defensive maneuver. A lot of these make more sense once the understand the rules a little bit, but I don't want to bore everybody with the the first video. Wind dancing is our last of the 4 elemental martial arts. This one, of course, uses wind. You can wind walk, so basically stepping up 45 degrees on wind or stepping down. As long as you don't stop, you will keep stepping up on the wind. Once you stop, you will fall. So always up and down. Forceful wind. This is another force push type ability. You have the wind blade, summoning and throwing small little currents of wind that slice and tear. You've got your tornado fist, a very big brawling damage attack with a severe knockback. And then you have your air vortex. Can actually imprison a target creature within a vortex of air, and that lasts for a handful of minutes. And that is the last power set. Quite a few. Hopefully, you guys and possibly Gal saw something you liked and thought that would work well for our orc barbarian / wizard. So with that being said, go ahead if you found a power set that you like that think would go well with our orc character. Go ahead and type that in chat now. And I'm going to get another drink because I've been talking. Where's the... I have it up on my phone to make sure I'm not talking to myself. Okay, it looks like 8 of you are still here. Excellent. Anybody? Did anybody see any power sets that they liked? Well, I'll start us off then. I think I think weapon mastery magic style is a great way to start. So I'm going to go to my power sets, and I am going to type the power set name in. Weapon. Let's hyphenate weapon mastery magic style. And for that description, let's see, magic through my weapon. And I always like reference, so that is on page 116. All right. So we have a magic style. This really helps us with, yes, we're going to be able to add any kind of element to our weapon, and then there are some other even better powers farther in. So right now we're just going to write that down. We won't spend any levels just yet. I'm just going to write it down and look through. Let's see. Whoop, that's going the wrong way. I like the idea of super jump. This is going to allow our orc barbarian to leap all over the battlefield. Heights, even at level 1, heights at 35 feet, distances at 75 feet. My players seem to have an absolute blast jumping all over the battlefield, jumping up to rooftops. So I want to do super jump. Jump incredibly far. And that's on page 106. Excellent. Let's see. All right, now we do have a wizard aspect. We have the magic style. Do we want to focus now on more physical stuff, or do we want to add a little magic too? Let's see. Plant magic might be fun. Metal body would be a very good one for our orc barbarian type. What do you think? Yes, I think someone mentioned in chat earlier that would help us with our thrill-seeking nature. So let's throw that down here. Metal body. Strengthen skin. We'll make sure we pick a magic too. I think it's only right that our barbarian should sling a spell or two as well. So the question then is what set of spells, what kind of magic do we want? Illusion magic might be fun for our orc. I don't know about ice magic. I don't know about healing either. Fungal magic. Maybe fire. Some utility would be fun. What do we have? Oh man, maybe earth magic. Dominating strength might be a good option for our orc barbarian. You like healing? We can do healing. Let's do it. So, we've got metal body, so excellent. That's a good choice. And we're going to go healing magic. So our barbarian wizard has the ability to heal. I like it. Heal people with magic. And that's on page 76. And let's find one more power set. We might not put anything in it, but for future things to aspire to for our orc. Let's see. Feral mastery might be fun. Dominating strength might be a good pick. Cloaking's a little roguish, but we could do that. Blazing speed is always nice for combat. Moving super quickly. Arcane magic. I think we've picked our magic as healing. Arcane magic might be maybe a little too much. What do you guys think? Actually, to be honest, with arcane magic, that would really cement the wizard aspect of this character. And animal control. Anybody see anything else for our last power set? We've got the healing. Let's see, we've got 4 powers. No, I want a fifth. I want a fifth. I want a fifth. What are we going to get? Let's do dominating strength as well. You like the animal one? That is a nice choice. I'm down. A bit more utility with it. Speed would go good with the jump. But with the healing and the animal control, I think we add those magical aspects to this character. So I like that. Speak to and control animals. And animal control is on 54. Now, in character creation, they tell you to make sure you take a look at the powers you like and what you need to roll. The book doesn't want you to mini max, but it doesn't want you to be ineffectual as well. Those characters aren't fun to play. It's not. It's nice to be. Hey, thank you, caveman. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad to see you. We're making a character here, and we're a bit far through it, but hopefully you can help us out with the rest of it. I think you're right. I think the utility would come in handy, uh, like Gandalf speaking to the moth, which then relays his message to the eagles. We can get an aspect of that with animal control. So I think I like that. I think we'll do that. Now, as you move on in this part of character creation, the book, this is it's very inspired by White Wolf. White Wolf, they were the first games that I cut my teeth on, but this game is called The Broken, and it is a game of my own creation. And so I thought I'd run everybody through character creation process, just kind of hype everybody up for it, and let people know that it exists and it's available. And you're right. I've got some additional. I really like the idea of blood magic and maybe some kind of blood melee power set. So I've got lots of other things I'm working on. My daughter and I really like the Rapunzel. Uh, well, we love Tangled, and then she and I really enjoyed the show, the cartoon, and I thought a Rapunzel power set where your hair is kind of a weapon or a shield or how she uses that hair to do all kinds of things. I thought that might be fun to create as I go. All right, where was I? Showing off the sheet. All right, back to character creation. The book suggests at this point that you kind of take a look through your powers and see what you need to roll for these things. I don't want you to mini max, but I do want you um, to enjoy your character, and for that you need some dice to roll, and you want to have some success with the things. So with the powers you've chosen. So it looks like animal control is an intelligence based power set. Lots of intelligence. Um, you can see animal handling, leadership, charisma, leadership. These are all important things. So when we go to pick our points, um, we'll we'll be able to put our points or our pips into a lot of the things that will help us with our powers and abilities. Um, so that was animal control. Next up, 76. Healing magic, focus. So this is a focus ability, which means it's magical, healing, protective, enchantment, enchantment, and you can see on the sheet here the magic type area, these skills here. There's tons of summoning, tons of minions. My son loves that kind of stuff. Doesn't quite like the way fifth edition's doing it, and so I tried to meet his expectations. Fable themed powers are quite fun. So we're doing like a barbarian with some magical abilities, a little bit of healing, the ability to talk to animals, kind of stuff. If you wanted to do a druid, though, plant magic, healing magic, storm magic, um, uh, and then if you wanted, so a druid can mean lots of things to different people. Some people see the druid as the shapeshifter. Back to World of Warcraft, the bear or cat druid, and you can do that with a shape shifting. If you want to be the damaging caster, pick like the boomkin, the moonkin form. You can do that too by picking some of the elemental spell power sets. Obviously, you can heal with the healing magic and be a resto type druid. There are there aren't so much, say, druid, but there are powers and abilities to sculpt the druid of your vision, if that makes sense. A very open system in that way. It's not so much I want to be the druid, it's more like I'm going to play a druid-esque character and his or her abilities are going to be, exactly what I want them to be. Angry space chicken. Yes, the boomkin. My wife liked my wife was the best resto druid, and of course that's what they want you to play in early raiding and dungeons. If you were a druid, you were resto. But she really liked to do the boomkin stuff. She just couldn't get a spot in a raid as boomkin because they wanted you to heal. Well, in metal skin, anyone could take, right? So if you wanted to be a caster but have a more defensive, hardier self, then you could take metal skin. It's going to use your energy, but as long as you don't mind splitting your focus a little bit, you can do that. And that's why I'm really pumped about my game and character creation. Character creation really is an act of creativity. You get to just pick and choose exactly what you want. And on top of that, once you're done creating your character, you can see avenues for growth. So in other games, there are levels. There are no levels in this game. You will, uh, by gaining experience, you will get to add more dots into your characteristics, your skills, and eventually your powers. So you'll be able to move down to the third power and the fourth power, and finally those massive fifth level powers in your power sets. And at that point, you'll really start to feel strong and powerful, like you gained levels, even though there is, in fact, no levels in the game. Discipline priest. I started as a hunter, and then my guild struggled with tanks, and I fell in love with my gnome warrior. And so I became a warrior for a long time. And then Wrath of Lich King came out, and I wanted to be a Death Knight. So I went with a little gnome Death Knight, and then played her all the way through Mists. And then Mists kind of ruined the game for me and my guild. There was no reason to be in a guild anymore because you had your dungeon finder, heroic finder, raid finder. So we didn't gather, we didn't run raids, we didn't run heroics anymore. And I realized at that point how important the social aspects of that game was to me. I never would have known that beforehand. I really did think that I liked the video game parts of it most, but when the guild wasn't getting together anymore, when we weren't getting on Ventrilo and chatting with each other and having a laugh and wiping over and over and over again on bosses you've been putting weeks on, and then finally knocking it out. Um, yeah, that's what killed it for me. I was I had my little gnome girl Oreo cookie was my warrior, and then I had a little gnome girl Jello pudding as my death knight, and they were so much fun. Incredible memories. All right, back on track. You go through your your powers. You look at what you're going to need to roll these powers because you don't want to mini max, but at the same time you don't want to be powerless. It's nice to be able to throw a handful of dice when it's time. All right, we're gonna been doing this so long. I'm gonna try and speed things up. I keep saying that, and I keep talking. Back to character creation. We've done step 4, the power sets. Um, and I guess we'll spend the points now. You're allowed 7 points in power sets. So that being said, when you saw the powers, back down the power sense. Oh, I'm awful at this. Spending a point would get you level 1. Spending a second point will get you level 1 and level 2, and so on and so on. If I wanted all 5 of Blazing Speed, I would need to spend 5 points in it. Now, I want at least 1 level in all of these, and that's going to cost 5 points. So let's put a level in Magic Style. Let's put a level in Super Jump. Let's put a level in Metal Body, a level in Healing Magic, and a level in Animal Control. And this is going to let us... wish I could... that's going to allow us 2 more points. So what we then would do is go back, look at our power sets and decide at start which ones we would want a little more in. So, for example, in healing magic, at this moment we only have healing touch. We only have 1 point in it. We have 2 more points to spend. We could get cure poison and disease and healing rain. At the moment, though, I think I'm happy with healing touch, and I'd like to expand maybe some of our offensive capabilities a little bit. We can always gain these powers as we play. Metal body. Right now we have level 1 bronze body, and it gives us an armor bonus of 15. We could buy the second level power of Shrug It Off, which allows us to take a single attack without any damage. And we could also buy Iron Body, which is a constant 20 armor bonus. Those are options for us, but those are more of defensive capabilities. Let's see what else we've got. Super jump. Second level is that heroic landing, where we can land from any height without being injured. And if we spent another colossal jump, doubling our distance, doubling our height. Possible. We've got two more points, and then finally we have weapon style, weapon mastery, magic style. Right now we have elemental weapon. Excuse me. If we spend another, we get blast wave. This is going to give us a magical ranged attack. I actually really like that idea. This gives our character a ranged ability, and I think that's pretty awesome. So unless I see any people disagreeing, let's put a second pip into magic style. This is going to give us elemental weapon and blast wave. You like metal body? All right, we've got 1 more point. Let's do a second one in metal body. Where are you, metal body? There you are. And this is going to give us Shrug It Off. And this is going to allow us to just take a single attack. It won't hurt us. We'll be fine. We could stand in the middle of a dragon's fiery breath and shrug it off. I like it. Let's do it. 2 points and metal body. All right. Now back to character creation. All right, that was step 4. Step 5, characteristics. You'll see on the sheet itself the pick 18 up here in the corner. You get a freebie of 1 of each, because a 0 would mean you were essentially dead. So you get 1 freebie, and then you get to pick 18 among these. So we're a barbarian / wizard. Our focus should probably be in the physical. And I'm going to describe these briefly and then explain how they relate to the other two. For physical, dexterity is how well you act. The strength is the strength with which you act, and stamina is the ability to withstand others acting. Did that make? Oh, that was. Did that make any sense? That transfers over, right? So for mental, your intelligence is your mental dexterity. Intelligence is how well you think. Willpower is how strong the thought, and mind is your resistance to. And then we bring that over to magical. Focus is your magical dexterity, uh, how well you manipulate magic. Aura is the strength of your magic, and spirit is how well you resist magic. All right. So that being said, we have 18 points, and we have 9 abilities to spend these 18 points among. I recommend we focus more on the physical aspects of our barbarian slash wizard. I'm going to say more a shaman at this point. Healing and animal communication. That's a little more shamanistic to me. I like to roll with a lot of dice, and dexterity is important. So I'm going to spend some couple of our points to get us up to 4. Now in the book, it's what page is that? There we go. In the book, they give a brief example of like benchmarks. So for dexterity, if you've only got 1, you're very clumsy, very ungraceful. 2 in dexterity is average. 3, you've got that raw athletic potential. 4, you're a star athlete. 5, you're a superstar in professional sports. And if you have more than 5, you've reached superhuman capabilities. And this similar scale is going to transfer over to all of our characteristics. So that being said, right now, our orc is a star athlete. I would like at the very least for our orc barbarian to have healthy and strong muscles. So we're gonna go up to 3 to start, and we can talk about boosting them up a little higher. And for stamina, well, I'd like him to be in good shape too. Our barbarian, our physicals are very important to be a barbarian. Excellent. All right. If you've noticed, we've spent. I wish I could get rid of that so that we could see. I've spent 3 in dexterity, 2 in strength, and 2 in stamina. So we've spent 7 points total. How smart do we want our orc to be? Fairly average? Is he kind of simple-minded? Simple-minded, artistic, thrill-seeking slayer? What do we think? Let's make him average. Average intelligence. Just 2. Not the smartest fella. Not the stupidest, though. He can write his name. No big deal. Willpower, though. I think his will is very strong. Once our orc puts his mind to things, he sticks with it. So I'm going to put our willpower up to 3. And our mind. Do we have an unbreakable mind? Can we get stressed out? What can we handle? I think, well, he's a thrill seeker, right? So I think I think our orc should be able to handle some stress. So I'm going to put it on, we're going to go to 3. So we've spent 7 plus 5, 12 points. We have 6 points left. Okay, now for our magic abilities, and these are going to affect our casting. We do have a healing spell, and I think it'd be wise for us to put a couple of points in focus, just so that when it comes time to cast that healing spell, slightly average, I like it. Our aura, how strong are we naturally in magic? There we are. We want to be weak in magical power. Do we want to have the average power of a student of magic? Do we want to be a strong caster of magic? Do we want to be a source of incredible magic power? I think I like the idea of being a strong caster of magic. Good. 4 points. I believe we have 2 left. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have 2 points left. Spirit. How badly does magic affect us? Are we prone to magic and its effects? Do we have a average resistance? I think we're... That's right. What a wonderful phrase. I say we're going to be average. Yes. Average resistance, 2 pips. That gives us 1 more pip. Where would we like to see it? I think maybe we should augment our physical stats. Just maybe 1 more. Whether we want to be a little stronger or maybe a little dexterity, a little more dexterous. What do we think? I guess heavier weapons and armor or better movement. I agree. The Slayer is all about that weapon, and weapons are about that physicality. Let's do 1 more dexterity. That way he will be absolutely tip top. Physical specimen, physical athlete. I like it. That's going to give us a lot of dice to roll. Fantastic. No problem. Yeah, I did not anticipate this taking so long. I really do apologize. I guess I can talk. Aura does affect magical blasts. So, as I'm scrolling through the magic here, we land on Fireball, and the damage is your aura times 15. So the more aura you pick, the more damage the Fireball does. That being said, in order to roll, when you roll the spell, you need to roll your focus and offensive. So uh, now focus is the only other characteristic. This is the skill. So that's the difference between the focus and aura here. Focus is how well you hit with it, but aura is the strength of which that fireball has. So the more aura you have, the stronger your spells, the longer they last, that kind of thing. Your characteristics have a direct impact on your abilities. And now we have skills. So the bottom half of the sheet, we get to pick 35. And there's 1 rule to start. None of them can have over 3 pips. And this is to force people to spread their points out and to knock or to keep people from mini-maxing. Right? If you mini-maxed, it's crazy how many people just go, all right, we'll combat 555. Fill out all the 5s. Let's fill out all the 5s here. Oh, shoot, I'm out. I'm out of points. So this is to force people to spread things around. Put 2 in each for the magic. We can do that. So we have 35 to pick from. Let's do 2 of each, as Aaron suggests, on our magic. 1 in protective, 1 in healing. I don't absolutely love the way they do these points here, but it works. 2 in healing. Oh, yes. 2nd in offensive. And the 2nd in enchantment. That is 8 points total. Let me write that down. All right. Yep, more buckets of dice. And then words like pip. I say the word pip a lot. Our Slayer is, well, he's going to use a weapon. So I would suggest some melee. We need to be able to swing that weapon well. I'd like to put at least 2 in melee. So let's do that now. Good. Up to 10. Defense is very important in this game. 1 critical strike can kill you. So let's do 2 in defense so that our orc, when we want him to dodge, he'll be good at dodging. Excellent. That is 2 more. We've spent 12 points, so we have 23 left to go. Are there things in our orc's past that things he's learned or done? Did he used to hunt? Was he a fisherman or a farmer? Did he grow up in a merchant family, a trading family, and so he's good at charisma and leadership and bargaining? Has he studied? Does he know knowledge type things? He is artistic, but that's more of a personality type, not necessarily an artist, but could be. Does he play an instrument? Is he good at mathematics? These are all questions that are answered in your skills. So as you spend these points, a clearer picture of who your character will be or is will form in your head. And rogue was mentioned earlier. This is where you would focus on thieving skills, lock picking, stealth, sleight of hand, and then I have this interesting luck stat that comes up more often than you'd think. Melee brawl. Okay, let's do. We've got some melee. Let's move at least 1 into brawl. We can always put more. I like intimidate, so let's do intimidate. He is a strength of 3. Animal handling and hunting. I like that. So our orc is proficient at hunting and handling animals as well. So point in each. Let's see, that is 3 more, 15. I'm going to add, let's do another 1 to hunting. 2 in hunting. Let's do another in animal handling. There we go. 17. Yes. Well, let's give him another brawl then. We don't want him to lose. He does have that raw athletic talent, that 5 dexterity. But we don't want him to lose a brawl. No, sir. Let's give him a 3rd in melee. Excellent. I like it. Cooking. Cooking. We have 15 more points. Let's do another in cooking. Let's say he's really good at it. And actually, where is it? I wonder if I can search for words. Cooking. That is not right. Okay. I put in the rules. With good cooking, you gain a benefit. There we go. No, that's cover. Oh my goodness. There we go. Cooked meals, which adds dice to the soak rolls. So cooking does actually come into play for combat as well. All right, back to our point expenditure. I've got 20 points. We need 15 more. Well, let's say he's charismatic. And well, he speaks common tongue, but he also speaks orc. So let's throw one in linguistics. And let's see. He's very athletic. So let's add a couple points to athletics. Be a thrill seeker, have some knowledge is history, investigation. I like investigation and strategy, history. Well, yeah, why not? Let's add one to everyone. History. Strategy. Investigation. I like it. 7. We've got 8 more points. 8 more points to spend. Let's see. He likes, while he's out hunting, I think he likes to wood carve. Up in his tree stand, just whittling on a piece of wood. One in woodworking. I think I like the idea of him swimming too. So we'll put one in swimming. I think he should have just a pip of luck. There we go. He's hunting, so let's make him stealthful as well. Just so that he can be quiet when he needs to be. I'm going to double up those 3 with our last 3 points. So we're going to put one more in history, one more in investigation, and one more in strategy. So we've got our character sheet filled out. And as you can see, as we made the character, he came to life for us. As we made those choices, the character concept built in our minds, and now we have this really cool orc character who I can't wait to put some equipment on. I probably should have earmarked a lot of this stuff. I will know for next time. I've step 7 is a bonus choice. There is a whole section of runic magic, and that section's kind of I don't want to say hard mode, but it expands. So it's like kind of end game. It's a crafting system with a runes and spell components and all kinds of extra stuff added in. So even though we have an option to pick a runic spell, I think what we're just going to do is take an extra pip in one of our powers. I think that's what we're going to do. So which of our powers, we have one last chance to get an extra pip in for starting. Does anybody have any option or any preference? I'm thinking maybe animal control would be really good. Because with the first power, we can speak to animals. But that second power allows us to dominate them as the alpha of their pack. So I think let's do that. Let's spend our bonus point as alpha in animal control. So now we can talk to animals, and we can demand their respect as their alpha. Excellent. And the last bit is the finishing touches. This is where we get to roll for wealth and buy and equip some gear. The way you roll for wealth is you roll a single die and times it by 100 and add it to the base of 400 coppers. So does anybody have a dice roller? Anybody want to roll a dice? Let me know what they get. First person, roll 1d10 and let me know what number you got. And I think I'm going to skip to the arms and armor section. I beat you to it, smartass. I beat you to it. That's his name, by the way. I'm not calling him names. I think we are two. Yes, we're two in magic style, so we have that blast. So we do have a nice range attack. This is the runic magic system section. It starts with components, then goes to spells, then to items, potions, and other things. For those of you who like your firearms, I've got runic rifles and a way to actually create them. 5, excellent. We'll go with the 5. Let me get... This explains the systems, breaks down combat. There we go. Money and items. So in this game, everything is in coppers, but there are gold and silver coins as well. But these are a bit more rare and worth more money. So a silver coin is worth 10 coppers, and a gold coin is worth 100 copper or 10 silver pieces. But the majority of the economy rolls in copper coins. If someone comes in with gold and silver and they throw it down, why, they're treated like a lord or lady, to be sure. And I just have charts and charts and charts of all kinds of uh, items and services, whatever kind of costs I could think of, and my players came up with. Uh, it is your name. Whatever I could come up with, I threw in a chart because I wanted it to be findable, or at least have enough reference so that other storytellers, dungeon masters, can take these prices and then figure out their own price on something that's not in here. Anything from a tankard of ale to a loaf of bread to hiring mercenaries for a time to how long and how much it would cost to stable a horse. Costs for treasure, silver, gold, jewelry of certain sorts, costs of books, things for cooking, spices and whatnot, all kinds of stuff. But with our 5 rolled, so 500 plus 400 base, our new character has 900 coppers to work with. So first things first, let's get some armor. You see this is our body and shoulder armor. You get your chest piece and shoulder piece in one. Obviously the better the armor bonus, the bigger the number, the better. And we're limited by our strength. The bigger numbered, heavier items require a larger and larger strength as you go. Our orc has a strength of 3. So we're limited to bits of armor that a level 3 strength can function in. And some of these level 3 have a -1 dexterity modifier due to how big and bulky they are. That being said, we need money for gloves and boots and a starting weapon, so we're not going to go too far up. We simply can't afford to. But I think for 300, this studded leather is going to be a nice option. What's everyone think? Do we want to move up or down a level or two in armor, or do we like that? All right, to speed things along, armor. And here in armor, for our body and shoulders, I'm going to type studded leather. Also for shoulders, studded leather, the same. Studded leather. Now we're going to put the armor bonus. The armor bonus for the body of the studded leather is 45. And for shoulders, it is 20. It's a nice starting set. Gives a solid bonus, and for a pretty good cost, right? 300 from our 900. That gives us 600 more to spend. In this game, you can dissect your opponent through body regions. You can aim for their head, and the head can take way less damage than the body. And generally, it tends to be lower armored. The problem is hitting the head is a difficulty 9 versus hitting a body is difficulty 6. So you can pinpoint your opponent's limbs and even their head, but you will suffer a higher difficulty on rolling. So it's your opinion or your choice. Do you want to go for a standard body shot and have the best statistical odds to hit, or do you want to go for something a little more daring and dramatic? Cut an arm off, cut a leg off, or simply take them out with a headshot. That being said, we're going to look at some head armor, and I tend to get I don't worry so much about armoring my head, because if someone aims for your head at a level or at a difficulty 9, dodging them at a difficulty 6 becomes very simple. I like the hooded fur cloak idea. No strength required, and it's cheap at 30 copper, and will protect our head with 10 armor. What's everybody think? I'm going to begin writing that, but if someone wants to change that up, just let me know. I think that also works with our orc swordsman and healer. Well, not necessarily a swordsman. I'm sorry. There's lots of weapons to pick from. Hooded fur cloak. And everything I'm doing with the character sheet is just in Acrobat. I'm like you turn on the signing, and there are options for text bubbles, and then the little pip bubble as well. So this is a really fun, clean way to do your character sheet. Just make sure that you don't save over the base sheet. Hooded fur cloak, 10 armor. All right, and then we've got arms and legs to do. Let's do our gloves and gauntlets first. Let's do some studded leather gloves to match our studded leather. What's everybody think? 30, 65.95. I like it. So, studded leather gloves. An armor bonus of 20. And here in the items section, this is where you can see that you're not limited on your equipment via class, because there is no class. You're limited by equipment based on what you put in dexterity and strength wise. The stronger your character, the heavier the armor and weapons they can use. However, if you devote points to those things, then you can't devote as many points to your magical prowess or your mental if you go with those options. In that way, there's a balance. Let's get ourselves a pair of boots. I mean, I kind of think, why not? Let's just go full on studded leather. What's everybody else think? 110. That's a little pricey. That would leave us a little under 400 for a weapon. Let's go cheaper. Leather greaves and boots. Let's go even cheaper. Fur boots. Let's go fur boots. That's going to match our cloak, and that's fairly cheap. Fur boots. With an armor of 20. Yes, fur lined, of course. And they were 60. So that leaves us with, let's see here. Oh, math. 445. We have 445 coppers left to get ourselves a weapon and other miscellaneous equipment. That's not too bad. You have bows, archery weapons, bows, crossbows, and the like. We did not pick any marksmen. Maybe we'll come back and get a short bow or, well, I don't think we'll be able to afford one. We'll have to find one while we adventure. We'll find one from a bandit or something. Do we want our orc character to use an axe? Or perhaps knives? I've got swords here, a big list of swords. We've got enough for the cat claw. That would be kind of cool. Or a short sword. We're 5 off from a long sword or a rapier. But I know the guy who made the game, so I bet he'd let it fly. um, are you a mace or hammer type? Do we want our orc to be a mace or hammer type character? You'll notice that prices and damage are similar across the charts. I didn't want to favor any one particular weapon type. Again, I think it's really cool when you get to pick the type that you see your character using in your head. I see axe. I like that idea. There's pole axes, whips, spears, and lances, and I've got staffs and wands too. While we're here, do I have the? I do. No, I do not have that. I have several others: the halberd, the bastion, the vogue, the partisan. So I've got some. I don't have all of them, but I would work with your dungeon master storyteller. Find the one that's equivalent. and they should be cool with that. Now, if you were a straight caster, you might want to go with wand or staff. You'll notice these, you don't need a lot of strength to wield most of them, and their damage bonus is incredibly low. However, they lower the difficulty for spells in certain schools. So if you bought a wooden wand, then any spell that used enchantment while rolling has a -1 difficulty. So with a wooden wand, enchantment spells cast easier. A steel wand allows protective spells to cast easier, and so forth. And the better wands kind of double up. A bejeweled wand, for example, helps healing and enchantment spells, while the battle wand helps with offensive and protective spells. So, despite them having lower damages, they do have their own aspects for casters. I see axe, a dagger. The problem with this many weapons is that our orc is broke. Axe was mentioned first, so let's do axe. And unfortunately, all we can afford is the cheapest, the hatchet. But that's okay, because we can always find better while we're out there adventuring. So in our weapons box, I'm going to type hatchet and a damage bonus of 30. Excellent. The hatchet is 325. And that leaves us with 120 copper pieces. The poleaxe might be closest. I've probably seen the weapon a million times, but I'm not quite sure the exact look of that. The Bardici. I know there are some of those pole weapons are incredibly powerful. The things they can do, rip weapons out of people's hands and things like that. Good stuff. Does our character want a shield? We've got enough for a buckler. Almost enough for a small shield. Okay, so it's like an axe on a stick. All right. There's some rules to shields where they've got some great advantages. However, there are also some rules for dual wielding. So if we wanted to, we could get our orc hatchet and hunting knife and dual wield those two and gain the ability to split our dice pool between actions. I won't go into that too much here. That's like a kind of a deeper dive into the rule set. Yes, a tomahawk would equate to a hatchet. Yes. I like that. I think we've established that he's a hunter, and I like the idea that he might dual wield the hatchet and a hunting knife. So unless anyone suggests otherwise, that's what we're going to do. So let's put hunting knife as his. Where'd you go? Hunting knife. And the damage for the hunting knife is 20. And with that, our orc has 25 copper pieces left. At, at this point, I would suggest our orc look through the bits and baubles. He'll need a backpack. He'll probably need some rope, maybe some torches. So our orc will need to pick through the particular items and things that he might want for traveling. I'm not going to. This video's already gone on so long. I'm not going to bore you guys with filling a backpack full of adventurers' things, but I hope you got a good feel for character creation. And there's even more items and things here. I've got brawling weapons, brass knuckles and spike knuckles and stuff like that. Throwing type weapons, I've got rules for steeds and steed armor, boats and siege equipment, fortifications, all kinds of stuff in the items, magical potions and herbs and flowers, tons of stuff, and well, enemies encounters. Of course, that stuff is there. Hey there, campaign terrain. Good to see you. Um, that comes to the end of our character creation. I hope you guys. Yeah, I'm sorry YouTube took so long. I tried to schedule it for 6 and then it said 5:37 after it was already 5:40 something, and I went heck with it. I'm just going to start it and see what happens. And so thank you to everyone who hung out. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the character creation process. I had a lot of fun with everybody. And now that we have a character made, I'm going to be able to save this character and we will be able to use this saved character to explain some of the other rules. Combat in particular, I think my game does combat incredibly well. And I'm excited to explain with you the details of the game a little more in depth later on. But until that time, until later on, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I have been so nervous about this live stream for for days now, ever since I came up with the concept. So thank you so much. I hope you dug the character creation. I hope you're interested, or maybe it piqued your interest in the game a little bit. It is available. If you look at my subscribe star for $10 a month, you get access to the game. You can pull it down in page or spread format along with a digital character sheet. If all you want to do is pay the 10 for 1 month and then cancel, that's okay. I really understand things are tight out there. No problem. But hey, if you think I'm doing a great job and you want to support me, well, $10 a month ain't too much, right? On top of that, you'll get lots of templates and things. I made some house templates that mimic the houses I've been making. I've got my old tabletop magnetic setup templates on there for download. I'm going to put the old boat template up, and I'm just going to put more and more stuff up there to give you more and more value. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it so much. It's been a blast. As always, like each other, love each other, and